This is Robin and welcome back to Stockholm. I came up here to film a video pretty much unprepared about a subject I just thought of that has been interesting me for quite some time, but I just thought of it more recently as well. And it's a subject of two different, seemingly conflicting coaching styles. Seemingly, these are dichotomies, and I'm gonna bounce them off you to see if I'm right and share some thoughts that I've had in relation to them, and perhaps this will clear up a confusion for you as well. So I've been thinking about two different coaching styles that seem to be at odds with each other. They seem to give completely different type of advice from a completely different place for the same problems. So I want you to imagine a person, maybe you, having a negative emotion or a negative thought or a negative character trait, negative character loop, or negative habit in some part of your life. Maybe this is not too hard to imagine. Maybe you're having a hard time choosing. I don't know. Let's think of something like fear, for example. A person may have fear in relation to going after their dreams, or a person may have fear in the gym for going up and lifting a heavy weight. A person may have fear in relation to walking up and saying hi to a stranger that they like. And the first type of coaching style that we're going to briefly summarize would say to this person having fear of doing something, they would say, and I'm specifically thinking of people like Jocko Willink, the Navy SEAL, David Goggins, the long-distance runner, Gary Vaynerchuk, the entrepreneur. I'm imagining them saying something like, I don't give a shit about your emotions. All right? I don't care about your emotions. Fuck that emotion. That emotion doesn't matter. Maybe they would say something like, ignore that emotion. Maybe they would say something like, fuck your fear. Maybe they would say, you're better than that. You're not fearful. Don't exaggerate things. Don't talk about yourself in that way. Don't tell others that you're fearful. Don't think these thoughts. What you think, you become. You become your thoughts. Maybe they would say, push away your fear, ignore your fear. Maybe I'm imagining them saying that you can't allow your fear to become your master. You gotta master your fear. You gotta control your fear, or whatever negative emotion you might have or I might have. They might say something like, you gotta stay hard, you gotta be disciplined, you gotta attack the day, you gotta make your emotions submit to you. You gotta view those weaker parts of yourself as your enemy. You gotta beat them every day. The enemy within is gonna try to take over every day, and every day you gotta win that battle. And maybe that type of coaching, that type of advice has worked for you. It certainly worked for me sometimes in some areas of my life at times. And yet, I felt conflicted because I was also hearing the opposite type of advice for the same problems. Someone might be fearful again. And a different type of coach or psychologist or philosopher or guru might say something like, oh, you're feeling fear. Interesting. First of all, accept it. It is natural. You're only human. Maybe they would even say, embrace the fear. Maybe they would say, tell yourself that you could live with this fear forever. Hello, fear. Shake fear's hand. Hello, fear. How has your day been? Allow the fear to stay. Just assume that the fear will stay forever and you are fine with that. It can stay forever and that's just all right. Maybe they would say, let the fear be. Maybe they would say, let it go, after you've accepted it and embraced it. Maybe they would say, feel the fear intensely, let it overwhelm you, let it come up and just drown yourself in it and bathe in the fear. Feel it fully and then let go of it. They would say that if you resist it, it will persist. If you keep fighting against it, it will stay. If you think that you are at odds with it, if you think that you are at battle with it, it will keep fighting you for the rest of your life, and it might even grow. It might even grow stronger, come back even worse. And I was conflicted. I still am to some extent. How is it possible that reasonable, successful people keep propagating these different types of advice that seem to be at odds with each other? And I honestly came up on this mountain to film this video not really knowing what my answer is. But I won't disappoint you. I do have an answer that I came up with last minute pretty much. And I'll let you see how I reason, and you can comment if you think I'm reasoning intelligently or not. What I thought was, all right, usually I think about these types of conflicts in terms of paradigms, and it seems that, but it's strange, because successful people, like the people I mentioned in the beginning, they're still in that macho, tough guy, hustle, step it up paradigm. So could it possibly be a lower paradigm? Could the acceptance, flow, embracing, peaceful paradigm, enlightenment paradigm, could that be above the other one? Could it be that one of the paradigms is more valuable, more sophisticated, more mature, more wise than the other one? Could that be the case? And I thought, let me put paradigms aside for a second and let me think about balance. I don't want to be all mainstream and advocate for balance, but I think these two perspectives have to exist in you for you to be psychologically healthy at the same time as being practical and stepping up at times. So I thought to myself, how could the first paradigm go wrong? How could the second paradigm go wrong? How could they go too far? The first paradigm, the hustle, step it up, macho paradigm, how could that go too far? Well, it's easy to imagine someone who is extremely hard on themselves. Whenever a negative emotion or a negative thought, that, by the way, as I've said before, is involuntary. You don't author your thoughts, they just pop up. When that happens, they are so hard on themselves. You're being a bitch, you're being a pussy, you're being a wuss, you're being pathetic, come on. And they're being too hard on themselves. They might be taking action in that field of their life, but they're just stewing inside like like water boiling. They're boiling up inside with negative emotions, and they're just pushing through, always at war with themselves. That would be that paradigm taken too far in one person. Well, how about the other paradigm? Well, it's equally as easy to imagine someone walking around in some pseudo blissful state and taking their emotions too seriously, taking their random thoughts too seriously, always thinking that everything means something, everything has to be analyzed, everything has to be accepted and embraced in every moment, and they're just walking around thinking, no, I don't feel like doing that, I don't resonate with that, I don't want to suppress my emotions, I will just float around in this turd state forever and not being practical, all right? You see in every successful person, no matter how psychologically healthy they are, no matter how aware of trauma and how aware they are of not suppressing their negative emotions, you see some degree of practicality where sometimes you just gotta get things done. Sometimes, no matter how you're feeling, you just go. And also realizing that while your emotions may say something about how you feel about a certain thing and how you should deal with psychological things or traumas that you may have and so on. They're also just evolutionary and random and primate emotions because you're an animal. All right, you're an animal. You got so many stupid thoughts in your head, and there's also danger in taking all of that too seriously. Sometimes you just gotta do. Even these people who talk about nuances and this esoteric level of spirituality, if they are successful in that area of their life, they're also to some extent getting things done when things need to get done on a practical level, on a day-to-day level. So, in conclusion, I do advocate some sort of balance in your life, and I think this is the answer for my confusion as well. I think that to a certain extent we just gotta sometimes just get things done, but if negative emotions and character traits and thoughts seem to persist for too long, they're just there, maybe they're even getting worse, maybe you should also consider the other side. Maybe you should also be easy on yourself and remember that you are human. You don't want to burn out and not be able to get out of bed tomorrow because you're in this battle with yourself in your mind every day. So I'm conceding to the mainstream yet ancient principle of balance that may be applicable in this case as well. Tell me, what do you think in the comments section below, if I've totally missed something, or if I'm overanalyzing, or if it seems reasonable. I want to thank you for watching, and until next time.
I'm singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling, I'm happy again. I'm laughing at clouds so dark up above. The sun's in my heart and I'm ready for love. Let the glory cloud chase everyone from the place. Come on with the rain, I've got a smile on my face. I walk down the lane with a happy refrain, just singing and dancing in the rain.